Welcome to the C.S. Joseph podcast. I'm your host, C.S. Joseph, and doing some more Acolyte questions, which I love how many Acolyte questions we're getting in. I mean, it's like basically, I don't know, doubled, quadrupled, and it's awesome. Thank you all for signing up and becoming Acolyte members. It's definitely keeping the lights on, and we're putting a lot of that into development for Ucha to get that social media application up off the ground for everybody within our community. So thank you all so very much for doing that, and also for asking some really brilliant questions. We've had some really good questions this month. So before I started this particular episode, I just wanted to say thank you to the people who have made the financial commitment to become Acolyte members. And if you would like to become an Acolyte member and take advantage of all of that, that's at csjoseph.life/members. You have to first be a journeyman member, and then you can upgrade from there. Right after you become a journeyman member, or if you don't know where to go to become Acolyte, even though you are a journeyman member, you can also go to csjoseph.life/portal, and there should be a button to do so from that location. So, but anyway, on to the show. We have a question that came in, and it's an INFJ question. It's kind of cool to have an INFJ question all of a sudden. Because we've been doing a lot of non-INJ questions recently. So, and I think this is kind of a follow-up question to a recent question another member asked, which was, what's the best way to study for INTPs? But this is what is the best way to study as an INFJ? And things are a little bit different for INFJs when it comes to studying. I've had the privilege to study with many an INFJ in my time, and it's kind of like they have this brute force hacking approach to when it comes to areas of study. But because of their extroverted thinking trickster and their introverted sensing demon, INFJs really actually get to a point where they struggle. They just they struggle when it comes to education in some capacity. And sometimes you have the hyper brilliant TI focused, ESTP focused INFJ person, which is Will Hunting from the movie Good Will Hunting. He's an INFJ, and he's bloody brilliant as a fictional character, of course. Or you get people like Simon Sinek, who ultimately over time develop that, but since they're part of the soul temple, they're all focusing on character. They're not part of the mind temple, which is focusing on learning. For more about temples, you're going to want to watch episodes that we have talking about them in season 18. Season 18 is available for free. It's emailed out once a month to people who are on our email list. But if for some reason you missed an email or you missed an episode in season 18, and it's cognitive mechanics where we actually explain the inner workings of the science all in one location, that is available to members as well. So check that out. But yes, so INFJs end up having a lot of these struggles because, for example, the education system is not really built to help people become more intelligent or even develop critical thinking. Although, sometimes we do have some things, relating to critical thinking from time to time. But ultimately, that's not really the case, and that can be a problem. And INFJs end up being in a severe weak spot when it comes to education, because education in this SJ Western society is all about testing people on their memorization. This is why extroverted thinkers who have introverted sensing, basically philosopher types, NFPs and STJs, are celebrated the most in education institutions. This is why, my daughter, even though she has TI Trickster, they are encouraging her to skip a grade or two in various subjects. Whereas my son, who has TI Child, is kind of derided and ultimately demonized in some capacity based on some of the educators in his life. And to the point where he's even accused of having a learning disability, which I kind of just, I don't agree with that. This whole idea that we need to shunt and mold children into this SJ way of education is, in my opinion, not only ridiculous, but I maintain it's also prime evil. And like the education system just exists to really screw INFJs over. So learning how to study ends up becoming a huge priority for INFJs. And what little sympathy my FI trickster can actually summon, I think that it's really important um, to at least I think I think it's important to at least give them some kind of leg up if they can have a leg up, given the fact that they have the deck stacked against them in any, traditional education format, be it in public school, secondary school, university, college, whatever. It doesn't matter. Even graduate studies, they're still going to be screwed. So the best way really is like don't study alone. And that can kind of be pretty scary for an INFJ because they're very introverted. They like to be in their own space. They don't like to be obligated to anyone. They have that expert intuition paranoia, which can be a problem too. But the other thing is they're just afraid of looking stupid, if not maybe even looking bad or ineffective, basically, or performing poorly in front of like a study partner or study group. That's why they prefer to be alone. And then in some cases you have the TI child God complex INFJ out there who's like, well, I want to study alone because I can't let all of you people, get me down, because they think that they're going to outperform everybody anyway. And, technically they would, an INFJ would outperform everybody else on paper anyway, especially with extroverted sensing aspirational when they're using it. So they're kind of not wrong. But the difference is that if they are going to survive in a memorization based form of an education system within Western society, they need to have memory tools. And this is why I recommend mind mapping. I've said that in the past. And you know what? I may actually, I think I even said that for an ISTP episode recently. And ISTPs are also Templars, just like INFJs. Memory tools are super mega important. But when it comes to those memory tools, nothing quite like really helps an INFJ, because when they have their extroverted feeling parent activated in combination with their extroverted sensing inferior, they actually can remember a lot of things. And it's all based on having that shared experience of studying with a study partner. And it can't be just any study partner. This has to be a consistent study partner. This is actually one of the reasons why, like for example, in college, INFJs subconsciously, whether or not they're aware of it or not, but subconsciously end up developing sexual relationships with their study partners, because having a sexual relationship keeps their study partner around, basically. And because they rely on that person being a memory totem for them as a study partner. Because when they study the same thing with somebody else, they are able to gain the benefit of seeing how that person reacts to it, and they can just remember the reactions through their extroverted sensing of their study partner when they're taking a test, basically, so they can actually get through the test, right? It's all about utilizing psychometry, which is basically like picking up a physical object, and then you sense all of the memories of the physical object and where it's been since the time it's been created till present, and anyone who's ever touched the object, blah blah blah. Imagine having psychometry and then having sex with a woman. Yeah, that would suck. But luckily it doesn't work that way. Extroverted sensing is a form of psychometry, and because it's a form of psychometry, it's really important that they have consistent memory tools, memory totems, which store their memories in, and they need access to those when they're taking tests. But then you have closed note tests, which is all the time, which really, really makes the INFJ suffer. So within their memory, they have to call back what they've studied based on two things. It's like, okay, is this true? Is this a test based on what's true or false? And their TI child, if it knows what's true because they've studied it, they can rely on TI child in that regard. But usually they can't, because again, how education works in society just kind of sucks. So for the INFJ. So what they have to do is they end up having to call back memories of their study partner, hoping that, like, hey, this thing that's on this test right now, this question on the test, hopefully my study partner and I actually discussed it. And then they'll remember the reactions of the study partner, what the study partner actually said, etc. And then as a result of that, the INFJ is empowered to actually remember. This is actually one of the few times, like, if you are an INFJ and you are in school and you are studying, really you should have a study partner, and I would recommend a philosopher type for this, probably an ISTJ the most, so that you can get the most benefit. If not an ISTJ, maybe an ESTJ. Definitely STJs, in my opinion, would probably be better. And then all you have to do is just mirror your study partner consistently. And I also recommend that you have a sexual relationship with them. Um, Definitely. I highly, highly recommend you have a sexual relationship with your study partner, your STJ study partner, because that will literally pave the path for like success for you, to get through school. Doesn't mean you have to keep that sexual relationship, but hey, maybe you will because, at least ESTJ is your bronze pair. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is that it will really help having that STJ as an actual memory totem for you to get through tests when you can't rely on your other memory tools like mind maps or notes, etc., or even the book itself. Because it's not good enough for just the INFJ to actually read the entire book, and they're not going like retaining that information is not going to help. It has everything to do based on how other people react or what other people value in terms of the material itself. So having a consistent STJ study partner that they have a sexual relationship with to keep the STJ around and committed, and it's in the STJ's best interest that the INFJ doesn't follow behind. The INFJ at that standpoint will be able to, like for example, because Templars they become strong when they strengthen others. And, when they're having the shared study experience, the INFJ is able to potentially strengthen or improve their study partner. And they remember doing that, and it actually helps them retain the information in their head so they can actually make it through tests. So that is the best way to study as an INFJ. So, anyway, folks, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys tonight.